Just one day after US President Donald Trump declared the beginning of a new golden age of peace in the Middle East, and Israel has informed the United Nations it will only allow half of the agreed upon number of humanitarian aid trucks into Gaza. 600 trucks should be entering the Strip daily. Israel, though, will only allow 300 now. That's after Israeli authorities accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire deal regarding the return of the bodies of deceased captives. The situation inside Gaza remains dire. The Red Cross is demanding all border crossings be opened.
To my knowledge, not all entry points are open to have humanitarian aid inside Gaza. And that's the main issue right now. And that's what humanitarians, including the ICRC, have been calling for in the last hours, is making sure that because of the huge needs, all entry points can be open.
Hani Mahmoud is standing by in Gaza City. But first of all, let's speak to Gabriel Elizondo. He joins us at the United Nations. So what exactly is Israel telling the UN officials about how it thinks that this is in line with what has been agreed?
Well, the United Nations spokesperson confirming within the last couple hours that the UN did receive this letter from the Israeli government. And in this letter, Israel is claiming that Hamas has violated the agreement because they haven't released all of the remains of the deceased captives. That's what Israel is saying. Now, a diplomatic source has released this letter to Al Jazeera. We've obtained it from a diplomatic source. I'm going to read part of it. Again, this is the letter from Israel to the United Nations, reading in part, starting tomorrow, meaning Wednesday, only half of the agreed trucks, 300, will be allowed to enter, and all of them will belong to the United Nations and humanitarian NGOs with no private sector involvement. The letter goes on to say no fuel or gas will be allowed into the Strip except for specific needs related to humanitarian infrastructure. Now, during the noon briefing here at UN headquarters in New York, this is a little bit more of what the UN deputy spokesperson had to say about this.
We certainly want as much aid as possible to go in. And like I said, we're asking all of the parties to adhere to their agreements so that both the deceased hostages will be returned and that the other aspects of the implementation of the ceasefire, including regarding humanitarian aid, will be followed.
Now, the UN also saying within the last day or so, cooking gas has gotten into the Gaza Strip for the first time in 7 months, allowing community bakeries and kitchens to be able to cook again. Now, this is all clearly very much in doubt, including the UN saying they have 190,000 metric tons of aid that has been pre-cleared, waiting to get into Gaza, that are in holding points within the region, whether it be Egypt or Jordan or elsewhere. Now that aid, 190,000 metric tons, the future of that aid, when it could possibly get into Gaza, is now also very much in doubt.
Gabriel, how significant is this that Israel is putting in writing that it's basically tying the humanitarian situation to leverage, political and military leverage? Well, it's something Israel has long denied the allegations that it's trying to leverage or use starvation and humanitarian suffering as a tool of warfare.
Yeah, well, it's very significant because it's a letter that was sent to the United Nations, and it very clearly states in writing that they are going to limit the amount of aid. They, of course, give reasons, as I previously mentioned, of saying that the remains of the captives have all not been returned yet. However, the International Committee for the Red Cross has said it's going to take time to do that. It's not going to happen overnight. And so Israel is basically making up the rules as it goes along, if you will. And this was not part of the 20-point ceasefire agreement that Hamas and Israel agreed to, that was negotiated by the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar. This was not part of it. It didn't have a part of that agreement saying Israel could simply change the rules as it went along. That's not part of it, but that's clearly very much what Israel is doing. And to put it in perspective, 300 trucks a day is not even anywhere near enough. Before October 7th, 2023, between 500 and 700 trucks full of aid were going into Gaza, and those were under much better times before Gaza had been bombed for 2 years straight. So 300 trucks a day will not even make a dent in what is needed, according to humanitarian officials.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much to Gabriel. Elizondo.
Don't miss out to get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.